Thank you for joining us. We'll start it off with Rod. I'm ready for the cool down, but it's not here quite yet.
Starts tomorrow. Here we go. On the warning map today, a couple things I want to point out. We still have air quality alerts for much of Oregon. This does not include Portland. And for the most part, these alerts in Clackamas, Salem, Lynn and Marion counties are really for the eastern portion of the counties. The new player is this fire weather warning. This is for tonight into tomorrow, where there will be a thunderstorm outbreak, but it looks like some pretty good rain with that. And I'll be updating you on that situation coming up. All right, getting out the door here in the Rose City, this is the way we look. It'll be sunny at the bus stop this morning, 59 degrees, 75 at noon. Increasing clouds somewhat this afternoon, and as Brenda mentioned, still warm, 83 to 85 as the day progresses.
All right, Rod, thank you so much. Topping your news this morning at 5, we are checking in again on Oregon hospitals, and experts think coronavirus hospitalizations have hit their peak and are stabilizing.
Yeah, the numbers, though, are still pretty high right now. Here's the latest report from the state, and it shows there are 1,138 people in Oregon hospitals with COVID right now. That is two fewer than we saw the day before. 297 of those patients are in the ICU. The state also reported 47 new COVID-related deaths yesterday. So this graph we're showing you shows the number of deaths reported each week in Oregon. And those numbers also seem to be leveling out after the big spike we had here the past couple of months. We did find out, though, that one of Oregon's recent COVID deaths was an infant. According to the Douglas County Public Health Office, the baby was under a year old, was diagnosed August 20th, and passed away just a few days ago on Monday. Health officials said the respect of the family's privacy will keep them from releasing any further information.
Over in Washington, Cowlitz County commissioners have declared an emergency. The county's only hospital is full of COVID patients, and so is the morgue. The coroner's office can handle a maximum of 12 bodies, but over last weekend they had 19. By declaring this emergency, the coroner can buy a refrigerated trailer that will double the storage capacity.
We're overwhelmed. My people are exhausted. You know, we're doing the best we can to maintain the dignity of the deceased and get them back to their loved ones so they can continue on as a family.
Overall, the county health department says it's never seen as many COVID cases as there are right now. The ICU is full at Peace Health St. John Medical Center in Longview. Hospital staffers have now put up a tent in case they need to handle additional cases. The U.S. is already reporting a higher number of COVID cases so far this year than in all of 2020. According to data from Johns Hopkins University, the U.S. has had more than 20 million COVID cases in the first 9 months of this year, compared to 20,100,000 in all of last year. That is 40 million total since the pandemic began. The CDC says the U.S. has seen about 153,000 cases each day. Well, at 2 o'clock today, President Biden is expected to address the nation on television with his plan to get the pandemic under control.
Yeah, so kids 12 and under still can't get the vaccination, but the White House says that's actually part of the president's speech today. He's going to focus on keeping kids and educators safe in school. And that's also a topic later this morning on the Today Show. They're going to talk with health experts, that is, about the most pressing needs right now, specifically improving testing and helping schools control outbreaks.
Breakthrough infections happen. They're rare, but they happen, and they are more likely to happen when you have an unvaccinated household member, in this case, a child who can't be vaccinated.
Again, that story is coming up later this morning on the Today Show. We'll have that for you starting at 7 o'clock.
As the Delta variant spreads, the need for testing is way up, and that has OHSU reopening a drive-through testing clinic at the Portland Expo Center. That site opened yesterday. It's open Monday through Friday. It's capable of testing up to 4,000 people a week. They're administering the PCR test, which is the most accurate, but it does take 24 to 48 hours to get results. It's available to anyone over 2 months old.
Anyone who thinks they've been exposed, anyone who needs to get tested for work, for travel, we are trying to meet all the needs of the community, whatever they might be for testing.
Right now, the site is by appointment only. If you'd like to find out how to do that, you can check out this story on kgw.com.
New research shows this flu season could be severe as COVID sticks around. Experts predict the flu could result in as many as 600,000 hospitalizations. For comparison, the CDC says about 200,000 are hospitalized with flu each year. Health officials telling people to get your flu shots now in an attempt to prevent further strain on hospitals already overwhelmed by COVID.
Hurricane Ida has come and gone, but it's going to be a long time before the states it ravaged return to some sort of normalcy.
There is a local angle to this story this morning, though. As Mike Benner reports for us, a specially trained team from the Oregon Humane Society is now lending a hand.
Good girl, good girl.
That woman in the yellow shirt feeding the dog a treat is Laura Klink of the Oregon Humane Society. She'll be the first to tell you this makes her happy.
It's very, very fulfilling and gratifying to be able to do this work.
Klink spoke to us from Tennessee, where she's been since Monday with the OHS Disaster Response Team.
I feel just personally very passionate about helping people and pets when there is this type of crisis situation.
The crisis Klink's referring to is Hurricane Ida. It forced the evacuation of numerous animal shelters in Louisiana. Those displaced dogs were sent to Tennessee, where Klink and her team were ready to help, as illustrated in this video from OHS.
So a lot of our role here is just, the care and feeding, but also getting to know these dogs and getting to know their personalities, their, doing some basic training with them.
As Klink and her 5 colleagues from Oregon work with the dogs, she can't help but think about the shelter workers back in Louisiana.
That there were people that probably loved and cared for these dogs for many months. And so it's a big responsibility that I feel and to really provide this great care for them so they are ready for their next chapter.
Klink is accustomed to this sort of work. She deployed to New Orleans in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. She went to St. Croix following Hurricane Maria in 2017. And the very next year, she was in California to assist the animals displaced by the Camp Fire.
Every deployment is different. Every natural disaster is different.
This deployment, she says, will last through the upcoming weekend. Then it's back to the Pacific Northwest until the next call for help.
There's that saying that you when you give, you get more back. And I find this work really fulfilling.
Klink says as of right now, there are no plans to bring any of the dogs back to Oregon. In all likelihood, they'll end up at shelters in Virginia and South Carolina. Klink says the Oregon Humane Society is already full of animals looking for forever homes, if you're interested. I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
We do want to tell you about another weather system that's moving across the southeast this morning. This is Tropical Storm Mindy, which is expected to bring heavy rain, wind, and potential flooding from southern Georgia all the way up through coastal Carolinas. Forecasters, though, thankfully here, do not expect any widespread damage from this storm. But I know, Rod, you are still keeping an eye on this one as well.
Yeah, the good news is that the track is been adjusted somewhat, and it's really going to take. So Mindy right now, it's hard to see. It's a 30-mile-per-hour tropical depression. The center of circulation is just north of Jacksonville, Florida, here in southern Georgia. And it's expected to start making a beeline due east out over the open waters. But you can see some heavy rains up into Charleston. Weather Service thinks in general upwards of 4 inches of rain today in some of those areas before the storm gets out to sea and leaves everybody alone. All right, back on the west side, a little sliver of clouds offshore. Doesn't look like much, but it is marking the spot of a disturbance that will swing up across our area tonight into tomorrow morning. And that is the one that will shut off the warm weather we've been having, get us back to temperatures in the 70s. Now, here we are today at 5:30 this afternoon, and there is a lightning threat. Here you can see in Medford, the storm's popping up around Bend. And then look at overnight. This is midnight. Now, look at the heavy rain band expected to move through overnight into 5 a.m. So there would be some lightning, but if this is correct, there would be enough beneficial rain that rain would kind of win the day or win the night as opposed to the lightning threat. And then that continues to push out toward the Blue Mountains tomorrow morning at 8:30. On the back side of that, we get a lot of clouds and cooler weather tomorrow, and maybe some traces of rain with the cloud deck on the back side of that. But the bigger story here in Portland, Salem, and Vancouver tomorrow will probably be a return to some temperatures in the 70s for several days in a row. Here are your early morning numbers. 57 up in Kelso, but Portland, Salem holding the 60s, 50s at the coast, 63 out in the Dalles. Good morning to you folks. Forecast numbers, Salem today still warm, 85. McMinnville still warm, 86. And up in southwest Washington, similar conditions. Battleground 82, Vancouver 85. So I have Portland 85, and then only 75 tomorrow with the clouds and maybe a trace of rain. 78 Saturday, a dry weekend. 76 on Sunday for a dry weekend finish. That's your forecast.
Love it. All right, Rod, thank you so much. Well, the past year has been a roller coaster, especially for those who survived the historic wildfires in Oregon. Coming up, you're going to meet the man who's been capturing the resiliency of those wildfire victims on camera. Plus, there's a viral claim about how some airline baggage fees originated. We verify, was it because of the 9/11 attacks?